These last several weeks have been very, very difficult for people that are outside of the world of Torah. It's difficult for everybody, no exception, but much more difficult for people that are outside of the world of Torah, because for the first time in their life, they don't really have any answers. Other than violence, other than war and killing people, which is certainly needed right now, you kill the enemy, but that's not really an answer. It's not really an answer. Okay, so fine. You're going to go kill them, destroy everything, turn the whole place into a soccer field. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing it also. Maybe I'll even attend the game, just in the commemoration of destroying the enemy. Fine. But why did it happen? Why do we have to endure all this suffering? All these parents lost their kids. All these kids lost their parents. All these people like myself and others that saw these vile images that will never leave your mind. Our brothers and sisters murdered in the worst possible ways. They just told me that they had a special screening session for Israeli government members, where they showed them about 45 minutes of footage that was never aired. This was aired by the, this is obviously sourced from the Hamas, Yimach Shemam V'Zichram, but apparently this stuff never saw the light of day in the general media and the most places. They had a special session for journalists. Some of the journalists wrote about it, but really it doesn't do it justice. Some minimized it, some didn't write about it at all, even though they showed up. Some didn't really say anything different than what we already saw, what everybody already saw. But the one thing that I saw with these government members is that you couldn't avoid seeing their reaction. They started coming out of the room, crying hysterical. Some of them had to have, they brought doctors there to give them pills to calm them down. They're literally grown men and women breaking down after what they saw. The first one who walked out was an Arab, member of Congress of the Israeli government. He said, I can't see this anymore. Why you can't see this anymore? It's your people that did it. Why you can't see this anymore? But that's the reality. Any normal human being, or even someone that's trying to be normal, cannot be the same after that. The point being is, how can we say, oh, it just happened, and we're going to resolve it by killing a bunch of people? That obviously cannot be it. Because it's never going to take away that pain. It's never going to take away that pain. And therefore, the people that are in the world of Torah have had a much easier time to deal with this, because the Torah has answers for everything. Especially if you have a good place to get your Torah. This is one of the things that we've been focusing on more than anything else over the last several weeks. Study the information, review it, speak with the different people, try to help as many as possible. But more than anything else, to be able to provide people answers for every single question you can possibly have, including controversial questions like the constant topic of discussion, which is, what about the killing of children? Not your children, because they already did that, but their children. Because that's the main thing that they bring up. Oh, look, ever since the Israelis responded, they've killed 5,000 babies. 5,000 babies? Where's these 5,000 babies exactly? Why, is there only babies there? There's all terrorists, everybody. The kids are carrying Uzis and shotguns. What babies? What babies are you talking about? Well, 5,000 babies. No adults. Only babies died. But let's just say it's true. We killed 5,000 babies. Should we feel bad about it? Now, if you're from the secular mindset, you say, listen, I kind of feel bad, but they did it, they started. You don't really know what to have. You don't really know what to say. Because you kind of feel bad because you think baby. But at the same token, you're like, yeah, but they did it to us. So, give it to them. But then you're thinking about, but it's baby. Everybody likes babies. Even the ugliest baby is cute. So you don't know. What do? Babies, women. You start thinking, wait, are we wrong in this war? Are we overreacting? Is it a so-called proportionate response? The Torah says you're not allowed to feel bad. En shalom Hashem amal reshaim. No peace, Hashem said to the wicked. No peace. And I've had a whole shiur about this, of how when your life is at risk and you're at war, you cannot take collateral damage into consideration. The life of one Jewish soldier outweighs 1,000,000 of them. Babies, adults, women, men alike. Doesn't make a difference. One Jewish soldier outweighs 1,000,000 of them. But if you don't have the Torah, you don't have a way to think like that, other than just revenge. But revenge doesn't last forever. But when you think, wait a minute, God said this. God says I'm not allowed to have mercy on them. Why? Number one, they're the enemy. They want to kill you. Number two, they're at fault. We didn't go attack them just because we were bored. Number three, the ideology that they have and they teach their children, which they publicize themselves, is to become terrorists, is to become people that are going to eventually kill Jews. Meaning, baby no baby, that's a little Hitler. There's more chances of that kid becoming a suicide bomber than anything else in the world. There's more chance of him becoming a suicide bomber than becoming a doctor. There's more chance of him becoming a suicide bomber than him becoming a lawyer. There's more chance of him being a suicide bomber than even being any other profession in the world. Because that's the ideology, not just of that particular segment of the world, but of Islam in general. It's a religion that sanctifies death. When they view death as a holy thing, you already know there's a very, very big difference between us, because we value life. So now all of a sudden, that baby is no longer a baby. He's simply a little person that I'm not necessarily looking to go kill him, but if I have to kill somebody that's trying to kill me, and in the process, this kid is going to die, there's no part of my heart that should be upset. Because this is the command of God. Now, if you have a Torah perspective for a while, this becomes very clear right away. If you're new to Torah, it's still a little confusing. Yeah, but it's only a baby, but it's only a baby. So let me even cater to the people that are new to the Torah. In the world of the Torah, the truth is, there is no such thing as baby. Because the real you is not the body that you're wearing. That's clothes. Just like my jacket is clothes on this body, my body is clothes on the soul. The real you is the inside you. How do you know? Very simple. Once you go to sleep, you have dreams. You fly in the air. You could do all types of things that you can't do in real life. And sometimes you remember them. Sometimes you're upset because of the dream. Sometimes you're really happy because of the dream. Sometimes you get a message in the dream. You see some long-lost uncle or grandfather or some tzaddik in your dream. It's a whole real conversation. It impacts your life. Meaning, even though your body wasn't operating, you couldn't even scratch your head with your body because you're sleeping, you were fully functional. Even if you went to sleep for 1 minute, that dream could have felt like it was 5 years. And this is also the same thing with people that have near-death experiences, where they die clinically, and they come back to life after a few minutes, even sometimes after a whole day. And they tell you a whole story of what happened to them and how they went to different places and they had conversations with different people and they saw different lights and different this and different that. Wait a minute, you were only gone for a few minutes. You're telling me just to tell the story took 5 hours. Yeah. Why? Because the neshama has is not bound to time. It's not bound to time. Your body is bound to time because it's in the physical world, but the neshama is not bound to that time. And that's really who you are. And the Arizal says in Shara Gilgulim that your neshama is not here for the first time. All of us came originally from Adam HaRishon. All of the neshamot were in Adam HaRishon. After that it split. It went into the generation of Noach, but the generation of Noach was wicked, All that was left of generation of Noach was Noach, his sons, his wife, Og Melech HaBashan. Some say also it was Sichon, his brother, or his son. There's a debate of whether Sichon was his brother or his son. But that was, the world had to restart. After that, the world repopulates again, and the neshamot all come from Noach and his children. Some went to the people of Edom, some people went to the people of Ishmael, some you have Am Yisrael, you have all the different things in the world. But once a person dies, he goes up to the Bet Din of Shamayim, and they evaluate, has he completed his mission or not? Has she completed the mission or not, according to the Torah? If they didn't, they have to reincarnate. Noach was a Ish Tzaddik Tamim, was a righteous and complete person, but he did not complete his mission, and therefore the Arizal says he had to reincarnate and come back as Moshe Rabbeinu. And in fact, Noach himself was not an original. Noach was the reincarnation of Evel. Cain murdered Evel. But not only that, Cain had to be reincarnated. Because Cain killed Evel, Cain had to be reincarnated. Who did he get reincarnated? His neshama had to split. One part had to split and become somebody that gets murdered. Who? The Egyptian that Moshe Rabbeinu murdered. Evel, aka Moshe, had to kill back Cain. So he killed the Egyptian. The other one split into Yitro. Why Yitro? Because Cain killed Evel because he had more women than him. He was born with 2 twin sisters, he was born with 1 twin sister. Meaning Evel had 2 wives, Cain had 1 wife, he was jealous, he killed him over a woman. So in order to, the tikkun for that is to give him a woman. So Yitro gave a woman, gave his daughter to Evel, meaning to Moshe. That was his tikkun. And then Chachamim even say, there's still a wicked part of him. Because Yitro was tzaddik. He did Teshuva. Even though he started in a bad way, all the Avodah Zarah in the world, he fixed it, he did Teshuva. Chachamim say also, Cain came back as Korach. And Korach stayed the enemy of Moshe. Stayed the enemy of Moshe, he didn't do a tikkun. In fact, I have a whole shiur about this if you ever want to see it. It's online. It's called Jesus According to Kabbalah. Why would you watch a shiur Jesus According to the Kabbalah? Because the continuation of these Gilgulim that I'm talking about, because eventually Cain becomes Jesus. All the reincarnations and so on, Korach eventually. The point being is that when you understand not the deepest levels of Kabbalah and mysticism, just the very basics like I just expressed to you guys, already you see, there's a lot more than this baby. This baby is not here for the first time, and in fact he's not even a baby. He's 6,000 years old, he's an old man. The body is new. The body is a year old, 5 years old, 10 years old, whatever it is, but the soul that's in him is old. In fact, Chachamim say that sometimes when a Jew makes a very big sin and marries a Goya, he has to, and he doesn't fix it during his life and he dies that way, intermarried, he has to reincarnate as a Goy. And his tikkun is to convert to Judaism. That's why one of the things that we see in this generation is a lot more converts than any other generation in the world. Because the Chachamim say that before Mashiach comes, the guf, which is a certain part of Shamayim, has to be emptied of all the neshamot that are there. They're all waiting to come to this world. Part of those neshamot are people that have to fix to complete their tikkun. They were originally Jewish, they have to come back as non-Jews in order to come back to convert and become Jewish. And there's a lot more conversions now than any time before because it's the last train. It's the last stop. So now you see this baby that everybody's crying about. He's not really such a baby. He's some soul that's been here for a while. Apparently, he's not exactly the most righteous soul, because if he died, there's a reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu decided for him to die. And already a person has more answers that are going to calm his conscience. Now, I'm not going to tell you, listen, go kill everybody, chas v'shalom. We're not a murderous nation. We're not looking to murder anybody. But what I'm telling you is that when you have the Torah in your hand, you have the Torah in your mind, you have the Torah in your heart, You have answers to every single dilemma that exists. And this is the beautiful part of the Torah that is unlike anything else in the world. We're not like one of these religions that you're not allowed to ask questions. In fact, it's the opposite. The more you learn Torah, the more you're encouraged to ask questions. Now, when you don't learn Torah, it's better you don't ask too many questions. And the reason why is because in order for you to have the right questions, you have to have some foundation of knowledge to know which questions you should be asking. But if you're not learning Torah, what are you going to ask? You're going to ask, oh, does the Torah say that the world is flat or round? What do you care if it's round or flat? What difference does it make to you? It's flat, it's round, it's a burgundy, it's triangular, it's a spaceship really. What difference does it make to you? What kind of question is that? But you know what the problem is? People spend an enormous amount of energy on stupid questions like that. Why do I call it a stupid question? It may be an interesting subject. Interesting doesn't make it smart. Interesting does not make it smart. Interesting does not make it smart. You're here in this world for a temporary amount of time. You have to utilize that time effectively and not waste it on things that don't really matter. If the world is round, does it change anything in your life? Does the mitzvot change? Are you going to marry somebody different? Are you going to have less or more kids? No. If the world is flat, are you going to leave the synagogue, go play hockey? Are you going to turn the whole world into a soccer field? What difference does it make if it's flat? Nothing. Nothing changes. And that's exactly why Gdolei Ador, the biggest sages throughout all of the generations, rarely ever discuss this issue. Rarely ever discuss this issue. But you know who likes to discuss this issue? Ignorant people. Ignorant people that are not really looking for the Torah. They're looking to bring their secular world into the Torah. And that's a mistake. So now we have a beautiful amount of Torah that can answer our questions, that can help us with our life. And instead of using that, we're trying to make it fit into something else. This is a mistake. And that's why when you first start, you ask the basic fundamental questions, the things that really matter to you. Once you get the answer to that, you start learning more. As you learn more, you're going to have more questions. But the questions are going to also new things that matter to you all of a sudden, that you didn't know about before you started learning. As you learn more, you're going to have even more questions. But the questions themselves are going to become smarter and smarter because you're becoming smarter and smarter. And therefore, when a situation like this happened, you didn't see the religious community and the top avrechim, real Torah scholars, go into depression. You didn't see them, get to a point where they became hopeless and started, losing their mind, crying in the streets. No, everybody was sad, but everybody went into action right away. Some people knew, okay, this is a time to do chesed. Let me go help the people that are in need. Some said, let me do chesed with the soldiers. They're going to war. I got to give them help. Not just the medicines and the weapons, but also spiritual help. Some of this and some of this. You have kemach, you have Torah. You need to do both right now. You can't just say, no, I'm only going to go teach them Tanakh. No, right now they also need some food. They also need some water. They also need some medicine. They also need all types of things. So some people went to action and started helping that way. Some people said, okay, fine. You know what? I'm not learning Torah all day. I'm religious, not learning Torah all day. You know what I'm going to do? I can't go back to business right now. We're at war. I'm going to join the army. And some religious people decide to join the army more than any other time in modern day history. Not because they want to join the army. If they want to join the army, they would have joined the army before that. But they decide to join the army. Why? Because they say, listen, right now, I have an excuse not to join the army. Excuse is, I'm older already. I have a business. I have a family. I can live my life. But that makes me not part of Am Yisrael. Now, if I was learning Torah, that's the best weapon in the world. As Moshe Rabbeinu says, 1,000 lamateh, 1,000 lamateh, 1,000 lamateh, 1,000 lamateh. 1,000 soldiers that learn Torah, 1,000 soldiers that go fight the war. If I was fighting the war, if I was fighting the war in the kollel, learning Torah, perfect. But if I'm not, How can I justify going to focus making more money? Let me go help the army. And some people joined. Thousands of religious people joined the army. That's how they decided to help. And then others said, listen, I'm not fit to be a soldier. I learned Torah, but as I said in the Kines, in the big event that we had, this is not the time to be the same one that you were before this happened. If you were learning 1, 2, 3 dapim a day of Gemara before this happened, don't think that 1, 2, or 3 dapim per day is still good for you. Why? Because we're at war. You have to do more. Just like the soldier is sacrificing, you have to sacrifice. If the most you were learning is you're brand new in the Torah, or very lazy, or whatever the reason is, you're only doing shtay mikra v'chad targum. The only thing you learn is the weekly parasha, fulfilling the Shulchan Aruch halacha. Good, but only for before the war. After the war, you have to do more. Why? You have to make your own sacrifice. You have to push yourself more. Everybody has to do something. You have to fight in some way. And the beautiful part that we saw in this last month, despite the disaster, is that Am Yisrael unified because of mitzvot. Before this thing, Am Yisrael separated because of mitzvot. Not because of the mitzvot themselves, but because people hated it, because they didn't know anything about it. After it, you're starting to see unification. You're starting to see the people interested more in Torah. You're starting to see people interested more in mitzvot. You're starting to see people, you know what? I'm willing to work with this religious community, even though he's a lefty liberal and he really didn't like the religious people. Right now he says, no, it's not the time not to like them. Look, they're doing so much chesed. They're doing so many great things. They're giving free food, free this, free that. I thought that, supposedly until now, for the last 30 years, 50 years, I thought that we're the ones that helping the religious community live. In reality, right now, I see that they're giving us life. They're donating a lot more than the secular people. More of their time, more of their resource, more than everything. Planes from all over the world, Jewish communities, especially in America, are being packed with different stuff, sent over here to Israel. From where? They're not coming from some secular neighborhood. They're not coming from the lefty liberal avenue. They're coming from the synagogues. They're coming from the frum communities. So even the people that are anti-religious, many of them are starting to see, wait a minute, maybe I wasn't really right about these religious people. They're doing a lot more than we did. And the beautiful part of the Torah is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not saying this is new. He's telling us this is old. This has always been us. You just didn't notice it. We've always done a lot of chesed. You were just too busy hating us to see.
I've heard enough. New arrival screams echoing through the hallway to know that this ain't good. Once they pass them through the infierno, they don't come back. It's enough to make you go crazy.
Do not think we fear you, Spirit. We know your power is born of evil. This is your last night in the land of the living. You understand me, malevolent demon?
There are no shortcuts, no tricks, no magic. The very cave you fear possesses the cure you seek. Go within. Just know, once you cross that threshold, there is only one way out.
There was a rich family that lived here called the Hetheringtons, and unfortunately, their daughter passed away of a heart attack inside the house. Basically, they were so devastated that they reached out to people claiming to be psychic mediums. They actually weren't psychic mediums. They opened up a total of 11 portals inside this house and invited spirits and entities from all different kinds of dimensions.
Well, I think there are certain pieces of evidence that there is an afterlife.
Resurrection of the dead is affirmed pretty clearly in the Talmud and the Midrash.
To be honest with you, to give this lecture is a nightmare. If it was up to me, I wouldn't. There's going to be some graphic details.
This place is a maze.
That person after death went to a place called Sheol.
This is by far the largest near-death experience study that has ever been conducted.
People go to a place and they experience weird things. And sometimes they actually will see a character of some type. Well, where did that come from?
I don't know why that one chain is swinging back there.
They may describe feeling profoundly peaceful, seeing a bright, warm, welcoming light. Some people describe watching doctors and nurses working on them with incredible accuracy.
Next thing I knew, I was above my body watching the operation.
How long did you feel like you were gone?
I went to a place of timelessness. And so what that means, it could have been a second, could have been 5 minutes. I don't know.
Can you imagine waking up from your sleep and not being able to move?
As I'm lying there, I realized that there's an evil presence next to me.
Do you believe that angels, demons exist?
Holy dude, get out of here! Oh my god, dude!
Strange things keep happening. Bizarre nightmares, as if I'm on fire.
Whoa, what the hell is this? Man, I've got bad chest pain.
Satan's Hollow is what it's called, the portal to hell.
Some people calling it an eye of fire, while others said it looked like the portal to hell opening up.
And the next thing I know, I was outside of my body, looking at my body.
What I'm going to do is called claromancy, the art of throwing lots or throwing bones.
2,000 years of experience, passed down, recorded, of how demons work.
God has them all on a leash, and he lets the leash go enough to let them tempt us, because that's what makes us spiritually stronger.
I'm trying to be as graphic as possible so you understand what we're talking about.
It's your ticket to reality. It's your ticket to freedom. It's your ticket to immortality.
Is there an afterlife? Is there a
This
God?
is the type of information that can keep you away from the Yetzirah.
What happens to us after we die?